Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, young man.
I heard you were in Chinatown before.
Well, of course. I better not say that. I think I was about to make a very bad comment about a change in complexion. But I'm saying...
Oh, my God. You're taking the elimination of DEI one step too far.
No. I do go down there because I like the people, and I love what happens to me down there and the people I meet. It happened again, but I won't go into that now.
The fact that you would talk to anyone is sickening. And I'm just being honest. I hate people, and I continue to do that. And if I go to eat, one of the greatest pleasures is doing it alone.
Okay. God. But look, you need help.
I don't need help. I know what I am, and I know what I want. And, this weekend, Stu, is the Easter holiday on Sunday. I know that's not part of your shtick.
But my shtick, respected, of course. And I know it's happening.
I'm glad you respect it, because every day I feel crucified.
Oh, no.
I feel just like Jesus.
You really are starting to have illusions that are way beyond acceptable.
I have a martyr complex. I must have a martyr complex. I live here in New York City.
Oh, yes.
But, we were talking before we started here about I just saw this on my phone, which is Elise Stefanik, who was screwed out of a position at the UN.
Yes.
By fatso Donald Trump. And it's because they don't have enough votes in Congress to pass their budget bust.
Yeah.
Ridiculous things. P.S. Stu, what's so funny about all these conservatives? One of the things they're floating is raising the top marginal tax rate, something liberal Joe Biden didn't even do.
Yeah.
To spend money on all this nonsense. Okay. So she is seriously considering, running against the demonic buck-toothed Kathy Hochul for governor of New York. And truthfully...
And I do think she could be, as much as we might say about her and how she's turned, she could be quite competitive.
But I agree. And I don't think she, unlike a lot of the Trump people, she's not stupid.
She's quite bright.
She's a capable woman. But truthfully, Stu, I said to you, after what I have seen, I was suckered. I will never vote for anyone affiliated with Trump. And I'm going to make this declaration to this day. If AOC is running against that piglet, J.D. Vance, who dropped the trophy that...
You mean if she were to be running against him in some role? Oh,
in president. Let's throw it out there.
Okay, yes, that's
right. And... J.D. Piglet, I don't know if you saw it. He dropped the trophy at the...
Yes, I did see. I saw a story.
Remember when de Blasio killed the groundhog?
I heard that he died. I don't know that he died, but he did drop him on Groundhog Day.
He got brain damage. De Blasio killed a groundhog. J.D. Vance didn't kill anyone except the hopes and dreams of those football players. But if that were the scenario that was presented to me, Stu, I would vote for AOC. Because I'm never going to vote for one of these tariff-raising lunatics and their bullshit book banning and all the rest of it. That's how outraged I am. I remember a turning point for me was when Miss Coconut Tree condemned Columbus Day and went on this long rant about indigenous people. And I said, that's it. I've now had another that's it moment. Granted, I could have many more between now and...
There's a lot of time. But a lot of time left.
Speaking of this repulsive, ineffective, incompetent spectacle, you were going to talk about one of my most beloved baseball teams and one of the heroes, that rotten New York Yankees. Go Red Sox.
Well, no, I'm not going to be talking about the Yankees much. Well, toward the end I will. Okay. But why I'm talking about this today, this story is about Jackie Robinson. And why it came to me was because I was watching the Yankee game last night. And suddenly there it was. It became clear to me again that April 15 was declared Jackie Robinson Day by Major League Baseball. But a bit of history. In 1947, Branch Rickey, who was then general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, believed it was time to integrate Major League Baseball. He chose Jackie Robinson not only because of Jackie's baseball skills, but because of Jackie's strength of character. Rickey warned Robinson that it would not be easy and that our system of Jim Crow that we had was still in control of much of the country. Ricky told Robinson that he would be insulted, abused, but could not speak out. He would have to endure whatever insults came his way, and Robinson agreed that was appropriate. Robinson made his debut with the Dodgers on April 15, 1947, ending 80 years of segregation in Major League Baseball. Some players slid into his legs with their cleats, and in those days, there were metal cleats. None of this soft plastic stuff and all they use now. He had to have metal plates sewn into his cap to protect him from pitches intentionally thrown at his head. And there were slurs, racial slurs, from fans and players. It's just absolutely sickening, but that's what went on from players. Robinson was Rookie of the Year in his first year, as a rookie would be in 1947, and was National League MVP in 1949. He was a star, and he earned every bit of it. April 15, as is celebrated at every major league park now, hosting games on that day. All players and coaches wear Jackie Robinson's number 42 on that day. The number was retired by Major League Baseball in 1997, and so no player may wear that number 42 on any other day. Why I brought this up, though, is because the timing of Jackie's day is more than uncomfortable in today's climate with all the efforts to eradicate DEI activities. Robinson was drafted into military service in 1942 and served as a lieutenant in an all-black tank battalion. He was court-martialed. This is fascinating. I didn't learn this until the last 24 hours. He was court-martialed for refusing to sit in the back of an Army bus. He was acquitted in the court-martial, but he was honorably discharged from the Army at that point in 1944. He never went overseas with his unit, which then engaged in combat. But think about 1944. That was 11 years before Rosa Parks did her refusal trick in Montgomery, Alabama. 11 years before that. And now, even more importantly, it was 1 year before Truman issued his executive order desegregating the military. Well, there's no question. That must have been on Truman's mind, among other things, the impact that Robinson had already had and why we should take the next step forward. And oh, by the way, it might get some votes. That was on Truman's mind, I suspect, as well.
I'm sure.
Fast forward. Last month at 1:24 p.m. on March 19, Hegseth, another player, almost daily player in our sagas, he said, quote, DEI is dead at the Defense Department, unquote. And he had website stories taken down about Robinson, the Navajo code talkers, Ira Hayes, who was an American Indian from the Southwest, and one of the 6 Iwo Jima flag raisers, and others. But wait, at 2:46 p.m. on the same day, after getting some backlash, the stories were back online. This time, he said, and this is where it gets sickening, he said, those stories are not there because of immutable characteristics like race, but because of their military service. The truth is that Robinson's bus refusal, like Parks, and like even Ali, in my view, are about conscience, about race, of course, and yes, I think about valor. And what ironies that is. And actually, to some degree, you'd say the heroism that Robinson showed was similar to that which many other, maybe all other black fellas showed when they went into an army that was treating them like second, third-class citizens, and they returned afterward knowing they were going to return to discrimination, yet they went forward and did some remarkable work overseas during the war. Finally, that Yankee broadcast last night. As I watched some of these pictures and stories that they were putting out constantly during the game, between innings, I thought to myself, if Trump feels pissed off about this, that this is some it's against his position of anti-DEI, I wonder if he'll say something or do something now with respect to Major League Baseball or the Yankees themselves. Nothing is beyond his grasp or his intent. That's what I got to say. I figure you You've got stuff.
Well, I mean, he certainly likes to put his tentacles where they don't belong, and he's not putting them where they should belong. We still have a war in Ukraine that has not been resolved. We still have the problems in Israel. We have serious economic problems, which he has exacerbated. And as far as stopping DEI at the Defense Department, I'm glad that's a priority for Pete Hegseth, but competence certainly is, because we talked before about how he basically revealed national security secrets on a private chat service, and now he's purging the Pentagon of people he suspects of leaks. He's the biggest leaker of them all, and not only is he a leaker, Pete Hegseth, he is a man who sexually abused a woman. He paid her to keep her silent and then said he did it because he was worried about Me Too. Well, if he hadn't have sexually assaulted her, there wouldn't have been money exchanged, I assure you. He's a liar. Number two, he's a drunk. He has a long history of drinking and carrying on and cheating on his wives. He's on his third now, had children out of wedlock while teaching people about, on Fox News, spewing off about his Christian crap. You know what? He is one of the worst hypocrites out there. And
it's a horse race.
It is a horse race. But he is, first of all, he was not a very weak candidate to be defense secretary. And he barely squeaked in, and he's proving himself to be incompetent and a joke. And this DEI thing, as you and I have both spoken, Stu, it was not a positive force. It should have never been entertained.
Yeah.
And the Biden, assuming he was even alive to know what it was, just doubtful, the way that was being imposed on people was ridiculous. But to make this a priority when we have so many other problems.
And to blow it at the Department of Defense with these people, that once he was, Jesus, and he got it all mixed up.
There's been a number of stuff that came out of all the nonsense. It's basically trying to sweep away our entire racial history, including our military.
Do you know what this does? I mean, there are such larger questions that come out of this. What do you think it does to black kids or Hispanics or Asians who are in our society who might otherwise want to join the military? What do you think it says to them about all this?
What it says to me is this guy is basically engaging in outrageously fascist behavior. And on top of
it's going to have an impact, a very negative impact on enrollment, on enlistment.
It's going to have a negative impact, period, Stu.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
It's ridiculous. And as far as I'm concerned, I couldn't be more dissuaded to serve in the military, because this guy, as I told you the last time, there's no way I'm wearing those clothes. Never. I need breathable cotton. I need high-end fabrics. I'm not wearing this. I mean, it's awful. But the moracy of Pete Hegseth, and it's funny, you would think on paper that he's not all that much of a moron, since he did go to the hated Harvard and Princeton for graduate school and college. At the U.S. Naval Academy, he was supposed to be visiting. So as part of his initiative to carry out this DEI, getting rid of it, they went into the Naval Academy library and they banned 381 books. Well, they removed them. They didn't ban them. They didn't burn them yet, like the Nazis did, but maybe they will,
Made them unavailable.
Now, I had never been a fan of Maya Angelou, Stu. She read the poem at Clinton's first inauguration, and I always referred to her as the hack poetress of the left. And she was tainted by her affiliation with that rapist. But that all said, she's written I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It's about her trauma and her racism. This is not an offensive book. This is something everyone should read. And if you don't want to read it, you don't have to. But I don't think her story is illegitimate, even though she had the bad judgment to do a poem.
And I want our brightest minds at the Naval Academy and other military academies to be reading stuff which they might be different from their opinion, but I want a broad outlook. I want these people to be able to say why certain things are wrong or are right. Or
there's more. He also banned something called memorializing the Holocaust, because somehow that got flagged as being DEI related. Ironic that last weekend Governor Shapiro's mansion was torched, probably by someone with anti-Semitic
unclear on this one.
But it was.
He's so sick. I mean, it's so obvious on this one. I think we got to wait on that one.
I don't know.
But he could be stimulated, I mean, by all that's going on.
Right.
This guy needs help.
Another book, A Half American by Matthew Delmont, and then another, A Respectable Woman by
I don't know.
and Pursuing Trayvon Martin. All of these books are liberal in their perspective.
Yes.
But they're not really books that I think should be removed from a library. More importantly, no one's required to read.
Yeah, it's in the library.
It's if you were forcing people to read it, that's
Yes. Another matter.
now, ironic. Now, Stu, guess what wasn't removed from the Naval Academy?
No.
Mein Kampf.
Oh, come on now. No.
If you're going to remove offensive books, how about a book?
You're not going to go into the salute thing now, are you?
No, we don't need to talk about the baby daddy. But he is a Nazi too. And we discussed how Orwellian all of this is.
It is.
How strange. And it's like watching The Handmaid's Tale. He also, ironically, left George Orwell's 1984 in the library. It was not banned as far as I know. Probably because Pete had
Oversight.
his mind is too clouded by, women, drink, and incompetence and ego. This guy is one of the biggest disasters we have had in a position of power since, I don't know when, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
No.
Kristi Noem. I could go down the long list of boobs who are in the administration. On top of what happened at
Naval
Academy, we've now seen how Harvard has reacted to the mandates Trump is trying to put on them. And
This is a battle of the heavyweights.
right. He's going to threaten to withhold $2.2 billion in funding.
He's going to seek to, he's going to go further and try, I'm sure, to try and take away their nonprofit status.
Yeah. Well, to be quite honest, Stu, I don't have a scintilla of sympathy for Harvard because Elise Stefanik exposed what Harvard was all about a while ago when that ridiculous Claudine Gray was the president. She was a plagiarist and she was asked about anti-Semitism on campus and she waffled, and it was Elise Stefanik who was leading the charge. And we've seen that the school, in response to that, had to eliminate her from her position because there was such an outcry from donors, and they have changed their policies in regards to the anti-Semitism on campus. And Harvard is no stranger to anti-Semitism. They long had exclusionary admissions practices for Jews. And it's, that's been
Dartmouth
as well. All those places, they love to talk about how they're havens of diversity and inclusion without openly acknowledging their long histories of favoring the wealthy and the powerful. And Trump is demanding that they reform their admissions and hiring to eliminate considerations of race. He wants them to dismantle DEI.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, Stu. Trump doesn't want them to get rid of people who buy their way into Harvard. For example, his son-in-law, Jared, was a mediocre student in Livingston, New Jersey. Everyone knows that. And then we know his father, who went to jail for trying to blackmail his sister with pornography that he filmed of her husband. And he was pardoned also. He gave a $2 million donation to Harvard. And in response,
what do you know?
His intellectually mediocre son was accepted. Another thing, they were mandating that Harvard collaborate with immigration authorities and restrict campus activities, etc., including students wearing masks and for protests and all this other, and also defunding certain groups on campus. Now, a lot of the schools like Columbia bet to this. Harvard is willing to put their integrity on the line, and their president, Alan Garber, has refused this Trump blackmail.
Right.
And as much as I loathe the hypocrisy of these elitist institutions.
No, you got to like that.
I do like that because someone has got to say no.
Yeah.
This is not acceptable. What goes on those campuses is disgraceful. Why they're getting all these billions of dollars in the first place is another question. Harvard has a $53 billion endowment. And I also do understand why they're able to gobble up real estate in Massachusetts in expensive areas and not pay real estate taxes, and everyone else does. And who are they really educating at Harvard? Are they educating people from diverse backgrounds, the downtrodden, not really. They take a lot of foreign students who pay the full tuition and they are wealthy. They take a lot of students from privileged backgrounds. And yes, they sprinkle in a few minorities and people who are underprivileged, and then they pretend like they're atmospheres of inclusion. But go ask some of those students who are from these underserved communities or not wealthy how they feel on Harvard's campus, and they will tell you probably profoundly miserable. So fuck Harvard, but fuck Trump even more because he's an asshole and incompetent. Not only incompetent, why are we wasting our time on Harvard University anyway? As much as loathsome as they are, I see bigger fish to fry.
Well, I think it's an important step forward, though. Well, first of all, I think Trump and his advisors from the right are looking forward to getting case after case before the Supreme Court. They're hoping to win some. I think that's part of their mission. Get these cases up to the Supreme Court and hopefully win some because they think they have a favorable listening audience. But that's part of the plan. And in this case, though, someone had to stand up, and it will enable some others, I think, maybe in that field of education and maybe elsewhere, to stand up. But you got to have a very big bank book, and you got to have character.
Well,
especially the bank book.
With the $54 billion endowment.
Yeah.
But also, at the end of the day, Stu, this is the same crap the Biden administration was doing on a different degree by imposing DAI on private industry and threatening them and all the stuff, threatening social media companies about what was being posted. But that was all kept under wraps. Trump is more out there and in your face. But just because Biden was canceling student loans without congressional thought and ignoring
I hated that idea.
The quote unquote rule of law doesn't mean it's justified now.
Yeah.
And it's just another example of what a small-minded, petty little piglet he is. Although I don't want to use the piglet too much because piglet mostly extends to J.D. Piglet Vance, who can't even hold a trophy because he's rubbery, buttery, fat arms couldn't sustain it because it was 50 pounds. He couldn't lift it.
I knew it was heavy from looking at 50s, he was trying with one hand to do one thing and one hand to do another, I think.
Rather ironic.
And
he's got his hands everywhere. At least he doesn't.
50's a big number.
I was going to say, at least he doesn't have his hands groping asses in a bar.
I didn't see any of that, please. I didn't see any of that.
We'll see it with Pete Hegseth, the Christian. But, Stu, I think that we have exhausted this topic.
Yep.
The attacks on our university system.
Well done. Let me go on. And this one, again, I want to every once in a while get away from some of the presidential level, national level stuff, but it keeps calling you back for more. And this story is just getting underway. I'm talking about the tug of war for this guy named Abrego Garcia, now confined in that tough El Salvador prison. Garcia is a Salvadorian citizen who has lived in Maryland for almost 15 years. He did enter the U.S. without legal status, but a federal judge in 2019 granted him protection from deportation because of concerns for his safety if he were to return to El Salvador. And Garcia has no criminal record in either country. He was arrested in March and quickly placed on a flight with other men that the Trump administration alleged were members of that horrible Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. A Justice Department lawyer conceded in court that Garcia's deportation was a mistake, or as he put it, an administrative error. That was conceded. But the facts, they change out of the mouths of the administration often. So on April 10, the Supreme Court unanimously found Garcia's removal to El Salvador to be illegal. The court required that the U.S. facilitate Garcia's release, leaving the methods to the administration. On April 13, Trump and El Salvadorian President Bukele, however that's pronounced, two, I think, dictators in training, sat smiling in the White House. Trump has now changed his position and said the Supreme Court cannot order the president to take foreign relations action, separation of powers theory. And this is one of the reasons I said a moment ago that I think they want to get this up to the Supreme Court. President Bukele said he would not release Garcia, suggesting that the release would be like smuggling a criminal into the U.S. because Trump hadn't asked for it now. He doesn't want it. And in fact, Bukala said he's paid for the imprisonment, so it would be improper for him to disregard that instruction. So they make good dance partners is what this amounts to. And I figure Bukala will be getting a very special room at Mar-a-Lago and maybe even a public bathroom named after
Russian whore.
So the broader questions, how about due process? Those are words we talk about, but how about basic fair play? What evidence is there that Garcia is a gang member? None. Or the DOJ has not shown any and never indicated they had any. They said it was a mistake. The administration has already said that, referred to that error. And then Trump even said at that point that he'd obey the Supreme Court. He said words like, I follow the Supreme Court, words to that effect. But now there's been another dictatorial change of position. And I think it's anything to increase the attempted increase of the power of the presidency. Ultimately, I believe some illegal act of the president will force the Supreme Court to modify the position handed down in Trump v. U.S. when they said that a president cannot be tried for a criminal wrongdoing for official actions taken in office. I don't think that can live forever, that holding, because of what's going on. They're constantly pressing that. Trump and his minions are essentially trying to rewrite the Constitution without the formality of constitutional amendment. And countries around the world, and this is the big picture, people around the world, countries around the world now wonder if the U.S. is still a beacon of light. And I wonder about it. And if I'm wondering about that stuff, lots of people must be, but may not speak about it. But I'm no longer as proud because of what's going on now. It bothers me. But other people now wonder if the U.S. is still a beacon of light, a reliable partner in defense as well as commerce, and maybe most important commercially, is the U.S. any longer the best haven, a safe haven for investment in our federal notes, bonds, and bills, treasury stuff? Japan and China are the two largest there are, and they could cause hell if they really started pulling the plug. You've got to wonder about this. It's way beyond just a tariff problem. They're causing a grave difficulty for our presence in the world and how people view us.
Well, I don't even know how to respond to that, except it's really kind of sad that a country founded on democratic principles and a constitution that most everyone has abided by, and even Nixon left office when his goose was finally cooked.
Yeah.
These people really are the scum of the earth. And this is one of the Biden was simply as bad. As I said before, I don't think we had his illegalities fully exposed because the media were complicit in keeping him. But this,
or at least Hunter's, that got exposed but disregarded.
It does not justify what we ever experienced. And I'm going to tell you something: when AOC becomes president, with my support and vote,
because she would then be running against J.D. Vance. Is that
Piglet Vance?
Piglet Vance,
who can't hold a trophy because he's too weak and rubbery. I think that one of the first books we are going to banish from every library in America is Art of a Deal.
Oh.
And by the way, I've seen no deals as of yet. No substantive achievements. And Stu, I think you mentioned this desire to expand presidential powers and all that. But at the end of the day, he hasn't deported any more people than stupid old Joe Biden. And this is an embarrassment and a statistic they don't want to live by. He has closed down the border, and that's
very important.
Right. So he did live up to that.
I wanted that.
But the deportations are no different than what occurred under Biden. So a lot of this is just another example of the Trump smoke and mirrors, kind of like the accounting practices he uses at his businesses, some of which went bankrupt.
And then that deportation stuff, he's saying that his lawyers are considering the matter of whether he can deport U.S. citizens to these ISIS.
That I would hope if he was to consider.
Bondi said she's going to look at this. She is looking at it.
Who's this?
Bondi, the Attorney General.
Oh, well, if they're going to deport some U.S. citizens, I would.
Has he got a list?
Well, I think one who we should be deporting and was never born here is that parasite. I'm going to talk about the baby daddy. Get him the hell out of here and his shitty cars. Fuck you. But anyway, there's a lot of gloom out there, and I can't disagree with you, Stu. But of all places, there might be a small sliver, and I do mean small, a sliver of hope. In San Francisco, which has been devastated by the liberal Democrats and their far left progressive policies. Crime has skyrocketed. Homelessness is out of control. Open air drugs. It's a mess. A mess. And San Francisco is a culturally significant and historic city, and it has a lot to offer. It was a beautiful city, yes, vibrant city, and also have very good restaurants. Yes, the shopping was mediocre. Oh, God. But it's got even worse, Stu. Because of all the shoplifting and all the crime, major department stores and hubs have abandoned.
And other commercial organizations said, we can't be here.
It's a crime what these liberals have done. Now, they had a new mayor because people were so frustrated. His name is Daniel Lurie. He became a mayor in 2025. Before this, he had no government experience. He was a philanthropist, and he worked for a nonprofit called Tipping Point Community, which dealt with anti-poverty programs. He's also an heir to the Levi Strauss fortune. As an aside, I would never wear those uncivilized clothing.
You're the second person. I didn't know you had taken that position.
I have.
My best buddy from long time has never worn a pair of jeans.
Well, I wear jeans. They have to be Italian. They have to.
He's broader on his reaction.
Now, in the short 100 days he has been in office, there is a sense of optimism in San Francisco, Stu.
Yeah.
Because he's a pragmatist. He's not obviously a conservative. He's a liberal, but he is a pragmatist. And if you're running a city, we do not need an ideologue like former Bill Warren Wilhelm de Blasio go piss on his lawn in Park Slope, please.
Is he still at Harvard?
I don't know where he is. Take away their donations. But he has expanded his powers to address the fentanyl crisis. He is bypassing the San Francisco. He was granted authority to go beyond the competitive bidding process to speed up the development and beds for homeless and drug addicts. He has integrated what he's doing with tech leaders.
Oh, boy. He's got a lot around. That's good news.
Because San Francisco is a tech hub, including Sam Altman. They open
OpenAI.
Right. And unlike Elon Musk, I don't think Sam Altman has 14 or 15, 16, 17 children, and he's not a parasite.
But they have a commercial interest in getting these things done. I mean, business really does broadly, but tech world certainly does.
Yeah. And he is also focusing on revitalizing San Francisco's downtown, which has been decimated, and stores are starting already to consider going back to
setting on the come.
Cisco. Now, he has been criticized as being some spoiled kid like Fatso Trump, but unlike Trump, he is a compassionate person, and he is highly effective at governing. In the short window that we've seen him, he has brought crime down. He has taken bold action on the open-air drug markets, and he's dealing with the notorious bureaucracy of the San Francisco City Hall. So
I don't mind wealth. I mean, that gives people some ability, if they've got the right character, to not have financial needs and to do things on the basis of principle. And I don't mind that. And I don't know about what kind of life he's led. I'm sure it was plentiful. But boy, if he's giving time and doing a good job, I say Godspeed.
I agree. And I just think that this is the kind of model we need as leaders, not what we are seeing in D.C. with the book-banning buffoons of the Trump administration who are completely incompetent.
All these actions being taken place without prior consideration of effect, without consideration of the right way to do something or the wrong way or the right people to let go. Even today, I just started reading at times I barely saw an article about all that are taking the buyout at the IRS and that they now don't believe. There are many who don't believe they can effectively take care of all the taxable forms that are being sent in a given year.
Right.
Oh, my God. But Biden was on the right track with this. He was hiring more people for the IRS, which I believe was the right thing to do because of all the thievery.
We have a lot of people who don't pay their taxes.
Exactly. And I want there to be audits. I want there to be people who fear an audit so that they will do the right thing.
Well, the only people who are going to be fearing audits now are Harvard and other places like that and enemies of this administration.
This is going to encourage bad conduct, what they're doing now at the IRS, but with all these departures. But it's going to encourage it.
They've done the same thing at the Social Security Administration, and now people are having trouble claiming their benefits.
I feel badly about that, but I feel worse about this. In fact, I don't know if that's the right balance I'm drawing, but I am worried about the ability to pay for governmental activities and encouraging people to do the wrong thing by not paying their fair share.
Well, they say San Francisco, as liberal as it is, always a cultural harbinger. Maybe this guy is that. Maybe what we're experiencing now is with Trump is his last hurrah, and the last hurrah of this comic conspiratorial joke of a presidency, which has proven, I mean, if he had been actually achieving results, I may overlook some of this.
Sure.
But he isn't. He's incompetent. And that's the bottom line. And he was just as incompetent in his first term. And this whole myth that the economy was doing well was a lie. He was not. It was mediocre. I mean, frankly, even with the inflation in Biden's last years, the economy was in better condition than it ever was under Trump. Trump is a disaster. And he's also obviously got serious mental health issues. But
I agree.
So did Hitler. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Yes. Well, as the ripples go out from all this misconduct.
I think we've concluded for today, Stu. Yes. Unless you have anything further.
No.
Once again, I didn't get any commentary from people, so I can't make fun of you and criticize you. And I have nothing to even criticize myself with except my own self-hatred. But I do encourage people to leave comments so we can discuss them and get reactions to some of the stuff we are coming up with. We are an uncharted territory here, and we need your feedback. So please do so, and tune in on Spotify, Apple, and the like for this episode, and there will be more forthcoming. In addition to that, for our 50th, we are planning, and it's not completely guaranteed yet, but a video of the two of us together. And I'm going to take Stu to Paul Stewart to buy him some clothes. But until next week.
I don't even know who Paul Stewart is.
It's a fine men's gentleness sort of like that was that for a man of your stat.
I have other places to shop.
I don't do what. I'm just going to do the sign of the cross. It is Easter. I know you can't see me, but if you had the video, you'd see me do this as cross. Well, until next time.
Yes, next time.